So the first test that we tested for was reducing sugars within, which is a type of carbohydrate. It's a simple sugar or monosaccharide. You also have polysaccharides. Polysaccharides are 3 or more monosaccharides. Some examples could be starch, glycogen, cellulose. We're going to be looking at starch for our test. And again, for the test, you want a positive control and you want a negative control. So you want to use a sample that you know is going to turn positive, and then you're going to use a sample that you know is going to turn negative, so that when you compare it to your unknown, you know whether or not it's positive or negative. Now, starch is a coiled polymer of glucose, and so the reason why it actually turns that black color is that the iodine is reacting with those coils, and that gives it that inky appearance. If it's negative and there are no coils, it is just going to stay that amber color. To perform the test for to perform the test for a complex carbohydrate such as a starch or polysaccharide, you are going to take a very small volume of your sample, again about 7 to 10 drops, which is about half a ml, and you're going to add a couple of drops to each of your sample. It depends on how concentrated your iodine sample is, so it's always best to ask your instructor ahead of time how many drops you should be adding. In your lab manual, it does say to add half a ml of iodine to each sample, but again, it does depend on concentration. Okay, and again, you should get an instant result, so an instant positive or an instant negative. You may need to swirl your test tubes. Now I am going to play a quick video. And as you hear in the background, that bubbling, they're also doing the Benedict's test for reducing sugars. So it's always a good idea as you're doing these tests, if you are in a group of 4, you can split up the workload, so you can have 2 people starting the Benedict's test while the other 2 people start the iodine test. And as long as you're talking to each other about your results and you're explaining what you're doing, that should be completely fine. Now try to think about what other things have starch. Okay, what would happen if you were to put a drop of iodine, let's say, on your piece of paper? Okay, and what is paper made out of? So these are some good things to think about. All right, next we are going to talk about protein identification.